Hey guys, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andre Seegers, and today we're joined by Derrick to discuss our general thoughts, as well as my recent playtime with Mario Party Island Tour. Okay Derrick, so as you know, I got to play Mario Party Island Tour for the first time when I went to Nintendo a few days ago. So I was able to try 4 of the mini-games. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to see anything beyond that, so I still don't have, much of a feel or of an idea of how the board game portion is going to work. Which we know is still in the game. And yeah, beyond that, we also know that there will be about 80 minigames or so in the game, so even these 4 are just a very small taste of what the game has to offer. So yeah, I thought what I'll do is I'll give a brief recap of the 4 games I played, and then we'll just have a little chat about it. How's that sound to you, Derrick?
Sounds pretty good.
Alright, so what is interesting is the 4 games I played kind of all showcase different features of the 3DS. The first one I got to play was Buzz-a-Fuzzy. And this is where there's it's like a first-person shooter, basically. You get one shot, as I recall, actually I think it was a couple different shots for the round. I think it was like maybe 2 or 3 shots. Do you remember how many it was from the video?
Oh, I haven't watched that video very much, but I don't remember. I think there was more than one.
Yeah, there was more than one. So yeah, the way it worked is there's a whole bunch of fuzzies traveling along like different tracks in the background. And you're aiming these plungers from a first-person perspective just by moving the 3DS around. Kind of like we've seen in like Ocarina of Time 3D when you can move it to aim. Use it the gyroscope. So you're just lining up your shot, pulling back on the plunger and releasing, and just trying to score as many fuzzies as you can. I think one point I scored like 7 of them, which seemed pretty good. I got like a nice little row of them.
Yeah, because I think there's only like 10 in a row, and you got like 7. 7 is pretty decent, I guess.
Yeah, it seemed. Yeah, I was pretty happy with it. But before that, I was like just getting like 1 or 2, I think. So. Yeah, so I mean that game, it worked pretty well. Move the 3DS around, aim, shoot. Pretty standard. So whoever gets the highest score, wins. It wasn't anything, super amazing or anything, but yeah, I mean it worked. Now another game that used motion controls that I saw was a game called Slipknot. And in this one, you're basically there's 4 people, I mean there are always 4 people in these mini games, but each one has their own slide, and the goal is just make as far along that slide as you can, ideally making it to the end, which in our case never happened at all. And so when you're going down, like you're going, it's not even really a slide. It's like a it's like an icy platform or something, or like a water slide or something. And the way you go down it or through it is you're tilting the 3DS back and forth. Left and right, just to stay on the track, and that track gets faster as you go, and the track is really thin, so it's really hard to stay on it. And usually I found once someone went, everyone else just collapsed. Everyone just falls off at that point. It's like once you that was just a really hard one to stay on.
Yeah, it sort of reminded me when I was watching it. Sort of reminded me of some of the other racing games in the past, or even just racing the Penguin in Mario 64, and how sometimes the track would get really sketchy.
Yeah, well, actually, speaking of the Penguin, there was a Penguin minigame in the first 2 Mario parties. We were riding in the Penguin sled, and yeah, you're going down the small track. So it was basically like that, except
by yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was kind of like that Penguin game. You're just trying to stay on the track, except there's really no obstacles. It just make it to the end, and that was hard to do. Another game I played was probably the more well, maybe not inventive, but one of the more unique ones was the Kagumba augmented reality game, and that's because it's one of the few games we've seen that actually makes use of the 3DS's augmented capabilities since launch.
Yeah.
So the way it works is you just put down a card, like that you got with the 3DS, and a bunch of Goombas appear around that card, and your goal is just to shoot them. So everyone, every player playing with are all shooting at the same Goomba. So you move around the card, trying to get a good vantage point, and yeah, whoever shoots the most Goombas or gets the most points wins. And toward the end of the round, a Womp appears, and his weak point's on the back of him. And so you have to you have to move around the card in real life in order to aim at his back to target his weak point. So it was cool. I mean, it worked well. The frame rate is pretty bad, especially even compared to the initial augmented reality games, which were also poorly, had some frame rate hiccups. This was really low frame rate. I'm thinking 10 frames per second, maybe even less, around there. So it was definitely choppy, and that made it, not quite as seamless as it could have been, or it made it seem just very game-like, if you know what I mean. It didn't seem like augmented reality. It made it seem like a lower level augmented reality, augmented like low frame rate reality or something. So yeah, I mean, that game was cool though, and I wonder if that means there might be a few more augmented reality games in there. It didn't do anything, especially unique with it. It's just a straight up shooting game, but it worked. Then the final game I played was probably the coolest one I saw, actually. It was pretty inventive, I thought, and I forget the exact name of it, but it was a game show. And the whole idea was you're impersonating Mario characters. So the way it would work is it would give you a soundbite of like a Mario enemy, and then a few seconds later you had to duplicate that soundbite just by saying it out loud, and the game would record you. And whoever gets closest to the sound of the enemy wins. And it was fun. Like, I'm horrible at impersonating things, so I think I actually won a couple of those rounds. I don't know how, but I think I lost overall. Yeah, I mean, that game, I thought it was fun, actually. It was goofy, and it worked well with the 3DS hardware.
I have a feeling that might become a very popular one, because I know a lot of people on YouTube love to impersonate Mario characters' voices, especially like Wario and Waluigi.
Right, so this is a perfect fit then. Yeah, that fits the demographic perfectly. Yeah, it's just kind of like that goofy fun it's a really cool idea. I'm actually surprised it's something I would almost expect to see more of in Wii Party U. That seems like it would almost be maybe not a better fit, but like something that I would expect to see there, because it's a more it's a turn-based game that that actually would work well on the gamepad too. But it works totally fine here, and it is fun. So I guess going off of the 4 minigames you saw me play, do you have any thoughts on them in general, Derek? Or
there's nothing especially to say about the buzz, hitting the buzz the fuzz, I think it was called.
Right.
It's your standard mini game. The Slipknot sounds like it could be a lot of fun as far as challenging. The AR one probably has me the most intrigued, because I'm thinking about how 4 players are going to play this. Because they can't just sit around on the couch and whatever and be that. It almost seems, because of the AR game, they have to have a table.
Right, that's right.
But you don't want to have too big of a table in front of you, because if you're all shooting, and especially with the thwomp at the end where you have to hit them in the back, I can see it becoming a little physical, where you're sort of like shoving your friends out of the way so you can get the best shot.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I mean, you can get some punching and stuff in here. So that has me probably the most intrigued, and of course the impersonation one would just be fun just for goofing around,
right?
And people like comparing their voices. But it's the AR one that has me like, I wonder how physical people will get with that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah, I can totally see just like tackling your teammate just to get him out of the picture. Yeah, I mean, actually, looking back at the 3DS trailer for the trailer for the first one. It looks like there will be a few more augmented reality games in there. So something that I thought was interesting from the 4 games I played was that they were all basically, there wasn't any direct interaction between any of the players. Like, it was all, you were just doing your own thing for the most part. And so that's to me a little bit concerning, because Mario Party is amazing in how it's capable of destroying friendships.
Yeah.
Like, it brings people together and then destroys them, because that game is like, just the original part Mario Party, at least, was infuriating in how like you could just dick over your opponents, like both the mini games and on the board game. And that was kind of lessened in later Mario Parties. And so having all these games that I played, basically having everyone just function by themselves with no direct interaction, and just being who scored the most points. It's a little bit concerning, because Mario Party to me is always about that competitive element. Like, even if it does destroy friendships, like, there's a huge appeal of the game for me, at least.
Well, I don't think it's too much to be concerned about right now, because as you said, there's like 80 games, and these are only 4.
Exactly.
And even in the past Mario Party games, there are games where you are separated, like messing with the faces, or stuff like that. So I don't think we have to be too worried about that yet. But you're right. You would hope to see more games where you can more directly interact with the other players.
Yeah, because we know some of them will be there. Like, it looks like Bumper Balls is back as well. And that game is probably one of the pinnacle games, or one of the more well-known games of the original games.
Oh yeah.
But I guess my concern is, like, it might hint at a more general trend for the game. I'm hoping it doesn't. But yeah. So, but what I did play, they were fun. But the Mario Party games by themselves have never been like amazing. It's always been about how it all ties together with the board game.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm most curious about to see, is just how it all comes together. And I'm almost, I had these concerns initially. I mean, we never did a discussion before, but I think being on the 3DS kind of works against the game. You know, I feel like it's a kind of game that you're all just sitting around the TV, like a TV, you know, a single screen. Mm-hmm. You can always see what everyone's doing. And
yeah, exactly.
So,
unless it has online, that's the only thing I think that would work for it. And there has been, I don't think there's been any confirmation. Really, this is such a weird game from Nintendo, in a way, because we know very little about it.
Right.
We have an idea that it's going to work like the classic Mario parties, rather than Mario Party 9,
right?
Where you're all on the same ride, and it'll use a lot of the 3DS functionality. But other than that, we really don't know much, and it comes out in November.
It does. It is strange how little we know about this game.
But yeah, it just strikes me as so odd that there's been so little build-up for this game when it comes out in November. Now, it has been delayed in Europe.
Right.
Till next year sometime. But it's still, as far as we know, it's still on for November of this year for the US and Japan.
Yep, November 22nd.
So I'm like, are you guys going to advertise this at all? Because we heard nothing from it from the last Nintendo Direct.
Right.
I was expecting to hear something from it, but there's nothing. And it's hard to, because of that, it's almost like Nintendo's ashamed of it, or at least not as confident about it. And that gives me a lot less... I'm not quite as excited for this game as I feel I should be.
Yeah, well, it's tricky because there's so many games coming out in that time period too. You know, with Mario 3D World, Pokemon just a few weeks before that, Sonic Lost World, and Zelda. Yeah, all within a few weeks. And Mario Party, I feel like might get lost in the shuffle. Yeah, especially coming out, I think the same day as Zelda.
Yeah, I think so.
It's just crazy, and it seems like, again, that'll be a better fit for, you know, a slower time of the year. Yeah, it's you know, and like I said, I really do think it would be a better fit on the Wii U. But now on the Wii U, they have Wii Party U coming out.
Yeah.
And so yeah, the whole thing is just really, it is kind of odd, and so yeah, it is hard to be fully excited for this game. Now what is cool though is it will have single card play for everything, the rep told me. So like the entire game is playable single card play. So only one of your friends needs to get it. So maybe you can have
that is a really good move.
Exactly. So maybe like you and 3 friends can split the cost or something.
Yeah.
You know, and so you only spend like $10 each for this game. Yeah, but I mean, I'm curious to see how it's gonna fully play. But I think, I really do think, like, it being on 3DS is just kind of a bummer. But that means everyone has to have their 3DS, around. Which is kind of nice, I guess, if you're on vacation or something. But, like, who's going to have time to play a full board game, when you're... I don't know. The whole thing's kind of weird to me.
Yeah, it's just an odd situation. I'm not sure if it's going to work because, I mean, let's look at Mario Party Advance. Nobody cared about that game.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm concerned that the same thing might happen here. I mean, to be fair, I haven't really cared about much of the last 8 Mario Party games, or however many there are.
Yeah.
I loved the first 2, maybe even the third one. We didn't play much, but I think we're just kind of burning out the series then. But then the series just kind of took like a weird turn and kind of made it more, I don't know. They took away a lot of the features I liked about the game and made it more like safer almost, like so it didn't offend anyone. But again, we've seen very little of the game, so we'll see how it plays when it comes out next month. Maybe it'll surprise us all and be really good.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I really do.
As do I. Alright, well I think that wraps it up for our Mario Party Island Tour discussion. So thanks Derek for joining us, and thanks to all of you for watching. If you like this video, make sure to follow us and like us on Facebook and Twitter. There are links in the description below. We post all kinds of things there. And of course, keep an eye on GameXplain.com for more on this game and all the other, huge games coming out very soon. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.